You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 28th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Plan Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Michigan City Plan Commission. This is Tuesday, May 28, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order, and we'll ask Skylar if you can do the roll call for us here this evening.
Give me 1 second. All righty. Mr. Balling?
Oh, there's Ross.
Here. Mr. Connolly? Here. Mr. Dabney? Mr. DeMedici? Here. Hopefully I didn't slaughter it this time. Mr. Granquist?
Here.
I feel like I still did. Mr. Hoffman?
Present.
Mr. Klinder?
Here.
Miss Tejeda?
Here.
Mr. Warner?
Present.
And Mr. Hale?
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a policy of conduct and procedures, so we'll incorporate that by reference without reading it tonight, so it's reflected in the minutes for that. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And Skylar has a comment about one of the petitioners, so we'll.
Yes, for petition P dash 101-24, George Zadius requesting rezone from R1D to B2 for expansion of a commercial parking lot at Apex Auto Care located at 1701 Lafayette and 2308 Franklin Street. They came in and met with me, and they are actually going to be filing for they're actually going to be amending their petition and renoticing their petition and filing a new amended petition. So they won't be, so we won't be hearing it tonight, but they will have to go through the same process, basically filing a new petition and then renoticing.
Well, with that petition deleted, do we have motion for approval or revision of the agenda
I'll make a motion for approval of the agenda
as amended?
as amended.
I'll
second that.
We'll have a roll call for the vote on that.
Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Mr. Granquist,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Miss Tejeda,
Yes.
Mr. Warner,
Yes.
motion approved.
And we'll move along with the agenda. The first, next item are the petitions. First petition is petition 900-24, Michiana Humane Society requesting preliminary plat approval of a minor subdivision with the intent to build a new facility. And there's a parcel number 46-01-25-200-015.000-022 located, this says, on the south side of Tryon Road between Highway 212 and North Mere Road. And we have a petitioner with us. Good evening, Mr. Novak. Please introduce yourself and your petition.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the commission. My name is Anthony Novak. I'm an attorney with Newby Lewis Kaminsky and Jones in LaPorte, Indiana, 916 Lincoln Way. Here on behalf of my client, Michiana Humane Society. Here with me tonight is Johanna Humbert, who is the executive director. She'll be saying a few words. And then a silent supporter is Beverly Hamill, the board president. So tonight we're seeking approval of a one-lot minor subdivision known as the Michiana Humane Society minor subdivision. We filed the application on April 15th, and the proposed primary plat is attached as Exhibit 5 to our application. After filing the application, we sent out notices by certified mail within 300 feet, published notice twice in the LaPorte Herald Dispatch, and we are here tonight in front of you. Property is currently owned by J&B West Roofing LLC. If you've driven north or south on Highway 212, you would see their facility, which is right next to the Humane Society's existing facility. J&B West owns approximately 50 acres, and this minor subdivision would be purchasing roughly 14 acres of that 50 acres. So specifically, it's 14 acres in between 212 and Mere, so 212 on the west, Mere on the east, and it has 1,000 feet of frontage on Tryon Road. JB has consented to this petition. Their consent is Exhibit 3. And with this land, the Humane Society is looking to build their new facility, approximately 20 to 25,000 square feet. And at this time, I'd like to just turn it over to Johanna to talk a little bit about that, and then that'll wrap up our presentation.
Hello, thank you for hearing us tonight. In 1997, when our existing building was built, over 3 million animals were euthanized in the United States. In the 30 years since then, animal welfare has changed dramatically. In 2023, fewer than 500,000 animals were euthanized by shelters. That change in our industry means a big change in how we house animals, how we treat them for veterinary reasons, how we care for their mental health, and how we serve our community by taking in the animals that people can no longer care for themselves. And so after years of study of this issue, we've decided that the best approach for us will be to build new and be able to create a shelter that is appropriate for Michigan City and the surrounding area for the next 25 or 50 years. We have an architect who specializes in animal shelters and veterinary facilities. We have a great team pulled together, and we really look forward to gaining this property and being able to make that growth and those changes that are so necessary for the animals.
Thank you for that. Any other information from the petitioner?
Nothing further.
Then we have the reports. Skylar, do you want to go over the Plan Commission, Shine Department report and the different departments, and then we'll have the attorney review?
Sure. Yes. I'm going to read the departmental reports tonight. This is from the Sanitary District. The Sanitary District takes no exceptions to the proposed minor subdivision for the Michiana Humane Society. This is from Steve Stanford, Operations Manager. The Water Department has no concerns regarding this primary plat. The Fire Department had no issues with this request. The city engineer has no comments on the primary plat. So now I'll read my report. This is a report for May 28th from Michigan State Plan Commission. This is case number 900-24, Michiana Humane Society minor subdivision request. The petitioner is requesting the approval of a minor subdivision located near the corner of State Road 212 and Tryon Road. The result of the subdivision will create one new lot for construction of a new building and leave a remaining parent lot. Staff analysis. The property is located near the northeast corner of State Road 212 and Tryon Road. Currently, there is no structure on the site. The site is a vacant piece of land that is zoned M1 light industrial. The petitioner has requested to split one large parcel, 51.18 acres, into two of land into two parcels, creating one new buildable lot that will approximately be about 13.99 acres, 14 acres. The remaining original lot will not be made non-conforming and will still meet the frontage requirements for the zoning class. And I might add that the new lot will meet the zoning, will conform to the frontage requirements as well. There are identified wetlands on the new lot. These have been delineated. I'm sorry, these have had a delineation completed and the setbacks have been established. You can see that delineation on the plat that was provided. It's called the primary plat pro forma, and you can see those setbacks delineated on there as well. The new lot has the required frontage for the zoning classifications. Any proposed new development of structures will require development review and approval of all permits associated with the construction. Staff recommendation. Based on the analysis, the information provided to the staff, the planning department recommends approval of 900-24 as submitted. And I'll entertain any questions about the plat or anything like that if you need.
Any questions or comments from the commission to the staff? And we'll look for the attorney report.
And my
Mr. Hill.
report, thank you. My report for petition number 900-24, petitioner Michiana Humane Society, Inc., property owner J&B West Roofing LLC. The engineer surveyor is Kroll Abbenmarsh. The request is for minor subdivision and primary plat approval. And the property is located on the south side of Tran Road between Highway 212 and North Mirror Road. The petitioner is filing for a minor subdivision with the intent to build a new facility. And this would meet the requirements of our subdivision ordinance. The pertinent parts of our subdivision ordinance for a minor subdivision are sections 1.08a, which contains the general provisions for minor subdivisions, Article 3, which contains the general rules pertaining to minor subdivisions, and Article 6, which contains design standards. I think you all understand that the purpose of a minor subdivision ordinance is to provide a simple process for what is generally a small project. No more than 2 new lots with a third parent lot remaining. The subdivider may initiate with a discussion with the enforcement official, that would be Mr. York and his staff. This would be a concept plan review. The formal process is initiated by filing a petition, which you have in front of you, and the supporting material. The enforcement official is to review that material, determine if the application and the materials meet our subdivision ordinance standards, and Mr. York's report indicates that it does in this case. And then he refers the application and the materials to the various department heads. And that, as you know, has been done. Mr. York reported back as to the response from department heads. Then Mr. York schedules this for a public hearing before the Plan Commission, and you are to consider this request at a public hearing, following which you are to make a determination if the standards and requirements of a minor subdivision are met. You may, that is, you have the authority under our zoning ordinance to subject the request to conditions that would make or assist the plan to meet the subdivision ordinance. Primary approval is given or is requested to be given by you tonight. There is a second process. The developer has an opportunity later on to submit the final or secondary plat. That secondary plat is reviewed by the enforcement official, that's Mr. York and his staff. The Plan Commission does not have another hearing on secondary plat. However, it is the responsibility of Mr. York to make sure in his review of that secondary plat that it meets with all of the conditions and requirements that you put on the plan, as well as the fact that it meets our subdivision ordinance. As indicated, our ordinance provides that requirements may be modified or waived. You have the power to grant modifications as set out in section 8.01. there are criteria that you have to consider in making such a waiver, and they're found in section 8.2. The plan department report would indicate whether such a waiver would be needed. I've just outlined this process because this is the first one that we're having, and I think it would be helpful for you to understand the process. So this is the first stage, but it is the only stage that the Plan Commission will be involved with. I often like to indicate to you, just as a matter of setting this for the record, what materials are submitted and considered to be part of the record. And they would include the application for minor subdivision that was filed, as Mr. Novak indicated, on April 15th of this year, the Michigan City Plan Commission petition for public hearing signed by Ms. Humbert, our executive director, who we heard testifying on behalf of the petition. The acknowledgement of the Michigan City Plan Commission public hearing notice requirements signed by Attorney Novak, a form of the notice of public hearing, an affidavit of service indicating that all of the notice requirements have been met. Exhibit 1, a narrative in support of the application. Exhibit 2, the legal description. Exhibit 3, a signed letter from the property owner, JB West LLC, indicating approval for the petitioner to make this request. All of those are requirements of our subdivision ordinance. And Exhibit 4, a beacon overview of the property. Exhibit 5, the primary plat, which you have seen. And Exhibit 6, another beacon overview with the names and addresses of adjacent property owners. This last one is helpful to me because I will indicate to you that a few days ago, the petitioner very kindly submitted copies of all the notice requirement documents, which I had a chance to review. And then this evening, he provided me with the originals. I can report to you that having reviewed all of the notice documentation, the petitioner has met all of our requirements for notice, and you are free to consider the matter this evening.
Thank you, Attorney Hale. Any questions or comments from the commissioners on the attorney report? Seeing none, we'll open it up for public comment now. Is there anyone from the public that has a comment regarding this petition? Step up to the microphone if you have a comment, state your name and address. I think there's one in the back that. There's,
I just have a question.
state your name and address for the record, please.
Julie Smith, 5723 West 750 North. My question is just as a layperson, the terminology minor subdivision. Are we talking about adding houses and apartments in this area, or just the terminology was confusing to me, so I just wanted that clarification.
Mr. York, would you like to explain that?
Yeah, I can jump in.
No houses, only houses for the animals in the shelter.
Awesome.
So just a clarification, minor means that they're only subdividing one lot out, and it's a big lot. It's 13 acres. It's very big. Typically a housing subdivision would be a major subdivision. You'd have, like we did 114 lot subdivision. That's a major subdivision, much more involved. This will only house 13 acres, and they're only asking, I think, to build one structure on it. And it would be the Humane Society building there. Anything more than that would have to come back and be subdividing out and cutting off other pieces. I hope that helps you out.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public online on Zoom? Anybody? Okay, seeing no comments, we'll close the public comment period. Any final thoughts from the commissioners? We've heard the staff report. They've met all the requirements. We've heard the attorney report. Notice has been provided. And we are free to make a recommendation. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
And then Mr. York will call for the approval of the motion.
Mr. Balling,
Yes.
Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Mr. Granquist,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda,
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Yes.
Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you to the Humane Society for your development in our community and
Thank you.
the care for our community. Thank you. With-
Mr. President,
Yes,
don't forget about minutes.
did we skip that? Okay,
Yeah.
Let's,
Just a reminder, we don't have to do it right now, just a reminder.
we'll come back to that.
Thank you, Mr.
Keep the
President.
petition going. Second petition has been deleted from the agenda as the agenda has been amended. We amended de facto by skipping over the minutes, but we'll catch those after the next petition here. Petition 901-24, TF Michigan City, Indiana LLC requests preliminary plat approval of a minor subdivision, another minor subdivision to create two lots from a single tract of land parcel number 46-05-476-001.000-009 located at 3901 Franklin Street. Is the petitioner here for this?
I do believe they are present tonight. Yes.
Please come up, state your name, identify your parties, and present your petition. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, members of the commission. My name is Jim Griffin. I'm with the law firm of Shane Banks in Chicago at 70 West Madison Street. I'm here on behalf of the applicant for this minor subdivision. We're seeking preliminary plat approval. With me on behalf of the applicant is Dominic Canzanese and Ann Regan. This is at 3901 Franklin Street. This is at the southwest corner of Franklin and St. John Street. This is a already fully developed commercial property zoned B2. On this property right now, there is a First Source Bank building, which is essentially the outlot. And then the interior proposed lot is a vacant Sears store. The applicant is the owner of both the properties. This subdivision is being done in order to enhance the development and marketing of the Sears property and to separate that from the First Source Bank property. The First Source Bank property has approximately 3 years left on the lease with an option for the bank to extend that. So in seeking development opportunities for the Sears store, we believed that it would be an advantage to have that separated from the First Source Bank site. We do believe that both of the new proposed lots meet all the requirements under the city's subdivision ordinance. We did provide notice of this application per the city's requirements. And we did provide that information to the city. I do have the originals here with me tonight, sir. If you would want those, I can provide those. And otherwise, we're available to answer any questions you may have about this subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. York. We'll present the staff report and department comments.
Yeah, so the sanitary district had the most comments. Yeah, the sanitary district takes no exception to the proposed subdivision, but requests that the final plat include a sanitary sewer easement on part of lot 2, such that existing sanitary sewer can be operated and maintained by the sanitary district. Please see the accompanying map showing the extent of the existing sewer. And then I talked to Steve Stanford today, and they would also like, if we so choose to approve, or the commission chooses to approve primary plat tonight between primary and secondary requests, they would like time to scope that just to make sure it's in good shape for you guys. It's a good practice. I will give you guys a copy of this map for your, I don't know that if you got it. I think I noticed you guys that you needed an easement, or were you requesting it, but I'll make sure you get a copy of this for yourselves. Okay.
And we're agreeable to that condition.
Okay. And then the water department, from a land use perspective, the department has no issues with the minor subdivision plat. However, as far as I can tell, the plat does not include a utility easement for the 10-inch water line that, okay, I didn't know about this one, water line that runs around the bank building and continues on into the loop of the water main that services the Marquette Mall. This water line is private and belongs to the mall, but the bank is tapped off of the main. I'm going to provide, give me one second. I'll include a utility easement for the 10-inch water line. Making sure I understand if this is a request or more. I think this is a comment rather than a request. But I am going to give you the drawing for that. Fire department has no issues with this request. Let's see here. This is from Mr. Werner, who is here with us. I believe the new, they need to show a sewer easement. Okay, so over the existing sanitary that runs north and west side, north from the west side of Buffalo Wild Wings onto St. John's Road. If the sanitary district wants to take over the via agreement, is there any water system on site? Basically, he requested that water. Mr. Warner, do you know what Chris was he requesting an easement or is he just stating that?
I don't see anywhere where he requested an easement. His request, I think he's just wanting to make sure that since it's a private line,
You're aware
that's
of it.
identified through the easement through lot 1 as a private easement for the water line that enters Marquette Mall.
I think he's
This is
just
what Chris is looking for.
making it known to you guys is what I think he is, and I'll provide you that map here. Okay, sorry about that, the confusion. Now on to the staff report. This is a report for May 28th, 2024 from Michigan City Plan Commission, case number 901-24, Franklin Street Minor Subdivision, former Sears and Company. Request. The petitioner is requesting the approval of a minor subdivision located near the corner of Franklin Street, US 421, and St. John's Road. The result of the subdivision will create one new lot and leave the remaining parent lot. Staff analysis. The property is located at the corner of Franklin Street and St. John's Road. Currently, there's a structure on site, a bank, with an associated parking lot. The site is zoned B2 General Commercial District. The petitioner has requested to split one large parcel of land, approximately 13.23 acres, into two parcels of land, creating one new lot, 1.36 acres, which the bank sits on. The remaining lot has a large commercial structure located on the property. Both lots will remain conforming to the dimensional requirements of the underlying zoning classification. The remaining original lot will remain as is until redevelopment occurs or reuse of the structure, meaning the old Sears building. I did add a condition of approval just to make sure we get this in here. Secondary plat approval should only be given after the sanitary has time to scope the main and make sure that it's in acceptable condition. And the sanitary main, or I'm sorry, and at that time, the sanitary district will need an easement for the service main once the conditions have been assessed. Staff recommendation. Based on the analysis and the information provided to staff, the planning department recommends approval of 901-24 with the conditions that the sanitary department is allowed to scope the service line and granted an easement. And then it just seems like for the standpoint of the water, just FYI.
Thank you, Mr. York, for the staff report and departmental comments. So we'll ask Attorney Hale for the attorney review and report.
My report is on petition 901-24. The petitioner and property owner is TF Michigan City IN LLC. The engineer surveyors Whiteman and Lang and Pinion Associates. The request again is for a minor subdivision for primary plat approval. And the property is located at 3901 Franklin Street. Initially, I would state that, again, I had an opportunity prior to today to review the notice documentation. As Attorney Griffin indicated, they provided that material to us and I had an opportunity to review it. They have satisfied all the requirements for notification and you are free to consider this matter. I'm not going to over summarize our minor subdivision process. I think you're familiar with it. I would make just a couple of points. As I indicated in my earlier report, this body has the power to make modifications to bring the request into compliance with our subdivision ordinance. My understanding is that Mr. York in his report has indicated to you that approval, if it is given, would be with a condition that the sanitary department is given permission by the petitioner to scope the service line and then granted an easement. And those modifications, conditions should be made part of any motion for approval. And finally, I've listed the materials that are part of the record that were submitted by the petitioner, all of which is in order. There was a letter dated April 22nd, 2024, addressed to the City of Michigan City from petitioner's attorney. Instructions checklist for filing the petition. The Michigan City Planning Commission petition itself for minor subdivision, signed by an agent on behalf of the petitioner, who, as I indicated, is also the owner of the property. A vicinity map of the property consisting of 4 pages, a site plan and survey of the parent parcel for the Franklin Street minor subdivision, and an Alta NSPS land title survey prepared by surveyors Lang, Feeney and Associates, dated October of 2021, a written description of the project, a legal description, the beacon overview of surrounding property owners, notice of the public hearing, primary plat drawings. And I want to add to that list, which you have in writing in front of you and is made part of the record, that the petitioner submitted a revised plat. And you should all have a copy this evening of that revised plat. Also part of the record are the engineer's email comments regarding sewer easement and water department easement question, written response from the sanitation department, detailed accompanying sewer map, and the written response of the water department in the attached sketch. All of that then is part of the record. If there is to be a motion of approval, please remember that there should be conditions, modifications attached to that motion.
Thank you, Attorney Hale, for the report. Do any commissioners have any questions for the staff report or the attorney report? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll open up for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that has a comment? Anybody from the public? Thank you.
Hello, Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. This sounds like a good common sense partition. The only question that came up in my mind during this is, sounds like there's a private water system as part of the mall. And if we're going to specify an easement for our sewer line, I would suggest we also make notice that it's a private water system that we have no responsibility for on their property. If I am understanding what you guys were saying about the water system. Because if we do have a water line running through there, it would need an easement as well, just like the sanitary sewer would for service and operation. That's the only thing. Other than that, it sounds like a good common sense subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you for being here for your comments. Any other comments from the public? Any other public comments? Any other public comments online? The Zoom call? Seeing no further comments from the public, we'll close the public comment time here. Any response, Mr. York?
Might I address it? I think that's what Chris is getting at to the petitioner, is that he's basically stating it is private. For your knowledge, should the mall decide to do something different with that water line, that you guys might want to negotiate with them to get an easement of how you reconnect or stay connected to that line. I believe that's the point of what he's trying to get at when I saw read through it again. It's a 10-inch, and he does state that it is private. But I think it's more of an FYI to you that it's not ours. It's private, but it doesn't necessarily belong to you guys. It sounds like it belongs to the mall, and that you would need to negotiate with them for an easement. Or check and see if one exists, I guess you could say too. So,
Skylar, may I add too, if we're talking about the private water main, we should also talk about the private storm sewer on site. On this map, I see where the sanitary sewer is shown. There's also a storm sewer that runs on the north side of that bank building along the north side of St. John Road within the mall property itself. So we probably want to have some kind of agreement with the storm sewer as well, if they do some changes to the storm sewer going back to the west. You'll see it when you see the map.
Where's it at?
Do you see the bank building there on the corner of St. John and Franklin?
Got it.
The blue lines, they're running to the west
Oh.
from the bank.
Sorry. Let me get
It is on, looks like it's all on the mall property. Or Sears Holding property.
I guess I don't know if the sanitary district wants those or not. But we could figure that out between primary and secondary if you would be amenable to open to that.
Yeah, certainly anything that the sanitary district owns and maintains, we're willing to provide an easement. It's already there.
Yeah.
There's probably already rights to it, but we can, and there should have probably been a formal easement done back when the property was developed. So we're happy to do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only helping out for the property. I think we can figure that out between primary and secondary. So, Mr. Werner, if I'm hearing you would like to add to kind of the conditions that, if I'm hearing you correctly, you would also like to have the sanitary district look into if they would like to accept the storm as well.
Yeah, and I think
It's simplest
if
form.
they don't, we need to have some kind of agreement between lot 1 and lot 2 on this subdivision for maintaining stormwater drainage.
Any other comments from the commissioners? We've heard public comment, staff report, attorney report, and petitions.
Yeah, I have one question in reference to our approval of this petition in any way. How do we reference the storm sewer and the water line approvals?
Approval, we could have a motion to approve the subdivision subject to appropriate easements for
Is that what?
sanitary and storm sewer.
Okay, it's
line.
easement rights for water, sanitary, and
Just sanitary and sewer, or I'm sorry, storm and sewer. Water is basically saying it's private. It was more of an FYI.
And the property owners and developers can negotiate arrangements for the water.
And that they would like time to scope in between now and secondary plat. Sorry, threw that in. Or did I just confuse everything?
Any further comment or clarification, Attorney Hale, from the legal perspective there?
Well, I think the conditions that Mr. York is asking about would be one, that the sanitary district is allowed to scope the service line and is granted appropriate easements for storm and sewer lines.
Okay. So is there a motion from the commissioners for such appropriate approval?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve case 901-24 minor subdivision with the staff, including the staff recommendations that include the sanitary district easement, storm and sewer line approval easement, and noted that we have a revised plat.
And grant permission to scope the line.
Yes, please. Scope the line.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. York, want to take roll call?
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Balling.
Yes.
Mr. Connolly.
Yes.
Mr. DiMedici.
Yes.
Mr. Granquist.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Klender.
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Yes.
Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you, petitioners. Thank you for the development
These are for you
in
guys.
our community.
It's
Now, I will correct the de facto agenda review, go back to approval of the minutes. So we had a chance to review the minutes previously. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
If Mr. Hale has no exceptions to the minutes, I would second it.
I'm glad you asked that question because I had an opportunity to review these in some detail, these minutes, and I thought they were excellent. And I hope if you had an opportunity to review them, you were here at that last meeting, you agree with that. I just wanted to praise and I don't know who it is that's making those minutes, but they were very good.
Thank you for that. And we can all concur with that comment, but we have a motion and a second on approval of the minutes. We'll have Mr. York, roll call for the approval.
yes. Mr. Balling. Mr. Balling. Oh, we lost Ross. Mr. Balling.
Yes.
Mr. Connolly.
Yes.
Mr. DiMedici.
Yes.
Mr. Granquist.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Klender.
Yes.
Ms. Tejeda.
Yes.
And Mr. Warner.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Move on to the next item on the agenda.
Microphone.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, new business or old business. Is there anything in that topic?
Tonight I do not have any new business. I don't have any old business either. I will tell you that we will have from what I'm hearing, we will have quite a few petitioners. We have been reviewing quite a few things and being asked questions about land and uses and things of that nature. So we will have hopefully some agenda items coming up very soon.
Well, we look forward to that for next month. And we look forward to the development in our community here. Next item on the agenda is any public comments. Any public comments in general? Any general comments from the public? In person? You're it.
Scott Melantur, Kenwood Place. Most of my comments come and are more of the form of a question because there's always unanswered things. Concerning the last petitioner and the storm sewer, since that's on Marquette Mall property, wouldn't it probably be their private, part of their drainage plan, then not our responsibility until it ties into our main or however the system works? If they have a private water system, part of the development was probably a stormwater plan. So we shouldn't be responsible for their private system. Am I confused as to Marquette Mall's stormwater management plan?
I wasn't suggesting that the city take over that. I'm just suggesting that there be an agreement on the plat between the two lots.
I think what Mr. Warner was getting at is that we want to make sure that it doesn't get stopped up. And if it does get stopped up and we get called out there, who do we call to unplug the stoppage?
Exactly. I don't want us to be responsible for it.
Me either. That was sort of my comment with the private water thing, to clarify specifically that this isn't on the city. This is on you guys.
We get caught up in these a lot with old school drainage ponds.
Yeah.
A lot. So because people die and pass it on or it gets sold, and we're like, who do we call? So we want to make sure we get an agreement in place.
Okay, great.
Scott, I see it as just a private stormwater easement.
Right. Yeah. As long as they understand that and it doesn't become a city responsibility.
We won't approve it if it doesn't say private.
Okay. Well done. Good job. And it's great to see that there's more coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending tonight. Are there any public comments online? the Zoom call. Any public comments online? Then we'll move on. Next item is commissioner comments. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay.
Mr. President, I would like to make a comment. This is Ross Balling. I want to let everybody know I stopped over at Skylar's office on, I believe it was last Thursday, and I did an impromptu visit, and I was generally impressed with Debbie and Kyle and Skylar's team. Literally, they were sweating getting projects done, and I thought every council person or every commissioner, when you get a chance, to stop over and see the great work they're doing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for your unfavorable comments. We do appreciate the staff and all the work that they do for our commission and for other commissions as well, Historic Preservation Commission and other departments of the planning department. Any last comments? No, then I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, Ross.
commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you for joining us online, Mr. Pauling.
You're welcome.